to the Australian side also, we are expecting a response in a bit, possibly from New Delhi itself.
Now, Abhishek, even as these incidents of vandalism are reported, it is a bit frightening to see the kind of visuals that have emerged. I mean, just look at these pictures. These are pictures of Khalistani groups armed with, crude weapons. Some of them even have swords. Some of them have these big sticks. So, obviously, for the Australians also, this is a matter of grave concern.
You are absolutely right, Dupur. So, we have seen, for example, in the case of Canada, maybe because of the captive vote bank that emerged out of the Punjab origin population there, the Canadian establishment for the decades past has been very indulgent with this kind of Khalistani separatism. Canadians themselves paying a certain price, from the Kanishka bombing onwards, for example, and the kind of communal disharmony it causes on the ground, and off and on the clashes that keep happening. And so it's not that any indulgence does not come with a price. So the Australians need to understand and learn also from the Canadian experience and not end up in a similar situation. Thankfully, we have much better and durable relationship going with Australia. Australia and India together are part of Quad, for example, and the IPEF, and we see together in the same direction when it comes to tackling the China challenge, for example. So in that sense, I think there are more convergences between the two nations, including, of course, cricket. So in that sense, I think it would be easier to handle this emerging Khalistani threat from the Australian soil.
All right, Abhishek, do stay with us. Let's go across to Mr. R.P. Singh, who's joining us on the phone line. Mr. R.P. Singh, the Indian side, of course, has raised concerns over what's happening in Melbourne. This is not the first time we've seen, this kind of vandalism. It has happened before. But it is not just concerning for India, but also Australia, given the kind of violence that we are seeing.
See, I go by what Abhishek is saying, that India has very good relationship with Australia, and then Indian government will be already pursuing the matter with the Australian government, and then Australian government will also ensure that they crack on such elements, because when you keep snakes in your backyard, they ultimately come and hit you or bite you also, because these elements will like to take advantage of the rules and regulations there, and then gradually build up their system there, ecosystem there, and then hurt their system also. But the only the bigger concern is that all such elements has no base in India, but they are only doing it on behalf of ISI, Sikh for Justice work on behalf of ISI, and they are doing it only for a reason and objective is that somehow they can grab some headlines and media headlines and news in India so that they can gain some ground in India. That's just the only objective. But people in India are not fooled. The Sikhs in India are not fooled. They're not going to get swayed by their game plan.
Right, Mr. Singh, appreciate your speaking to us on Republic TV. Thank you for joining us. So as we are getting news right now, of course, this is something that's been picked up by the Indian side and has been raised with Australia.
Traffic on strategically important Jammu-Srinagar National Highway has been halted due to continuous mudslides and shooting stones from the Chandrakot to Banihal belt of the Ramban district. The decision has been taken due to the western disturbances that have hit the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and there is a prediction of heavy to heavy snowfall in the upper reaches as well as the heavy rainfall in the low-lying areas, and that's why all the vehicles that are coming from the Kashmir Valley are being returned. They have been put on halt, the passenger vehicles. Other vehicles are being returned by the traffic cops. This is being done so as to ensure the smooth movement on the National Highway and life that is put on risk by the authorities, keeping in view the inclement weather condition that is prevailing on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway due to the western disturbances. And also the decision has been taken that till the weather is improved completely, no vehicle will be allowed to move beyond the checkpoints in Jammu. With Gaurav Sahni, Gursimran Singh for Republic Media Network.
Well, after Jairam Ramesh had tweeted in favor of Rahul Gandhi, the BJP has responded to him. The BJP in its tweet says, irony dies a million times when a China apologist advises the Modi government on China policy. Jairam Ramesh has covered himself with notoriety during his ministerial stint with the UPA for being an unabashed advocate of China, so much so that even the mild-mannered Dr. Manmohan Singh had to rebuke him. So we are given to understand that this is the response that is coming in from the BJP. Well, Samiksha has more details on this. She's joining us from the Mumbai news desk. Samiksha, take us through what has been said by the BJP.
Well, absolutely, Nupur. So this statement that has been put out by Amit Malviya after that statement was earlier put out by Jairam Ramesh, questioning and hitting out at the centre again in relation to Chinese incursions at the border areas. Let me just quickly read out the statement that has been put out by Amit Malviya, who says, irony dies a million times when a Chinese apologist advises Modi government on China policy. Jairam had covered himself with notoriety during his ministerial stint in UPA for being an unabashed advocate of China, so much so that even the mild-mannered Dr. Manmohan Singh had to rebuke him. Not just this, he even goes on to say that at the fag end, how in fact, I'm just going to go back and read out that statement again. Reading out from the statement that was earlier put out by Jairam Ramesh, who had questioned Modi government, saying, in fact, taking you through the key excerpts from that statement that was earlier put out just a short while back by Jairam Ramesh earlier today, where he had said, Modi government's preferred strategy to deal with the Chinese incursions in Ladakh has been summed up with a DDLJ analogy that he's given. He further goes on to say that the fact of that there is no comparison between 1962, when India went to war with China to defend its territory, and 2020, after which India had acquiesced to Chinese aggression with denials following by disengagements in which India had lost access to thousands of square kilometers of the territory. So there you have Congress yet again, once again questioning the centre in relation to Chinese incursions, questioning, in fact, saying that how territorial integrity of India has been, China has tried to enter India's territory. Not the first time, of course, but also just to put this into context, Nupur, let's not forget how Mahesh Jetmalani had earlier had put out that excerpt from the book that was written by Jairam Ramesh, where he had stated how Jairam Ramesh has long been an advocate of China, went on to say that how he has even batted for Huawei, which has been banned in several of the countries, citing security reasons. So on one hand, you have BJP leaders, including, in fact, the likes of Mahesh Jetmalani as well, who's a Rajya Sabha MP, who had put the facts on the table, stating how Jairam Ramesh in his book had long advocated for Huawei technology, which has been banned in several countries. And yet again, you have a Congress leader who's again questioning the centre, this one in relation to Chinese attempts to enter Indian territory. And with that, the latest, of course, coming in, Amit Malviya hitting out at the Congress with the facts on the table.
Right, absolutely. So as Samiksha is pointing out, of course, we are given to understand that Amit Malviya has hit out at Jairam Ramesh. But apart from that, Samiksha, we also understand that he has spoken about the fact that Dr. Manmohan Singh also had to rebuke him.
Try and put out that tweet again, that was put out by Amit Malviya. Just to read out from that tweet that was earlier, that has been put out by Amit Malviya, where he has taken a hit at the Congress party with the facts on the table, saying that how it was Jairam Ramesh who, during his ministerial stint in the UPA regime, had long, batted for China, and not just that, even in the book that he had earlier written, how he had advocated for China's Huawei technologies, even as it was banned in several of the countries, citing security reasons. In fact, I'm just give me a moment. I'll open that tweet again. That's been put out by Amit Malviya, where he has put out the facts on the table.
Just hold your thoughts for a minute. I'm going to come back to you, Samiksha. Let's in fact go across to Mr. Malviya, who now joins us on the phone line. Mr. Malviya, you have just tweeted and you have, of course, spoken about the fact that you believe that Jairam Ramesh has been an unabashed advocate of China. You've also gone on to give us some background on this. Could you please tell us more?
Well, it's quite ironic that Jairam Ramesh comes out and is talking to us about Government of India's China policy, when it was in 1962 that the Congress ceded vast tracts of land to China and Nehru was the Prime Minister. Even till recently, the Congress-led UPA's China policy was in shambles. Jairam Ramesh, in particular, has been an unabashed advocate of the Chinese interests here in India. As the Minister of Environment and Forest, he spoke about collaborating with the Chinese to build dams in Arunachal Pradesh, a territory that China claims as its own. He has been ticked off by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh for speaking out of turn in China's support, even when it did not concern his ministries. And he did not stop there. He went on to advocate a larger collaboration between India and China. And we all know what happened. The Rajiv Gandhi Foundation received huge sums of money from China.
Right, Mr.
The
Malviya.
Gandhis are known to be close to the Chinese. So what's really going on in the Congress party?
Right. Mr. Malviya, thank you for joining us. So, Mr. Malviya over there questioning the Congress party and essentially questioning Jairam Ramesh for his personal affinity, perhaps, for China. We are also going to go back across to Samiksha right now. Samiksha, give us more details in terms of what we've been getting in terms of reactions from the Congress party. All right, we don't seem to have Samiksha yet, but as we were earlier pointing out, of course, the BJP has now responded to Jairam Ramesh, who had, of course, tweeted earlier. Now, he says that, and this is a tweet that we've got from Amit Malviya, who's from the BJP, where he has said that irony dies a million times when China apologists advise the Modi government on China policy. Jairam Ramesh has covered himself with notoriety during his ministerial stint in the UPA for being an unabashed advocate of China, so much so that even the mild-mannered Dr. Manmohan Singh had to rebuke him. Of course, there have been questions raised about Jairam Ramesh's affinity with the Chinese. And of course, Indian girls brought us glory yesterday as the Indian women's under-19 team lifted the World Cup in South Africa. It was not just a moment of pride, but for many of these young girls, this was the best performance that they have ever given, including, of course, the captain of the Indian team, who was in the first year of her captaincy when she brought home this glory for India. Now, Indian bowlers, tremendous performance, of course, followed by Gongadi Trisha and Soumya Tiwari's knocks helped India lift the inaugural under-19 T20 World Cup title after defeating England by 7 wickets in the summit clash. Let's in fact go across right now to Harsha. I think Harsha is joined by some of the family members of those phenomenal young girls who've done us so much proud. Harsha, I think you're joined by the family of some of those cricketers. Tell us what they're feeling today. Must be on top of the world, all of them.
Exactly, Nupur, a moment of pride and proud for all the countrymen as today the under-19 women cricket team have got the World Cup for the country, and the family members are eagerly and excitedly waiting for the players to come to the hometown and so that everyone can meet and greet them. Right now I am joining with the family members of Pashvi Chopra. She is the bowler and the leg spinner in the under-19 women cricket team, and she have played exceptionally in the entire series, be it the match with the Sri Lanka, be it the match with the New Zealand series, or in this World Cup with England. She took 2 wickets at a very crucial point. Let me straight talk to the family members of Pashvi Chopra. Gaurav ji, कैसा लग रहा है? बच्ची 10 साल से क्रिकेट खेल रही है और अब पूरे देश का मान सम्मान बढ़ाया है कि जिस तरह से वर्ल्ड कप ये बेटियां लेकर के आई हैं.
देखिए, पूरी फैमिली के लिए और मेरी पूरी सोसाइटी के लिए बहुत प्राउड फीलिंग मोमेंट है ये, और हम लोग एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर सकते कि हम लोग कितना खुश हैं. बस ऐसे लग रहा है जैसे ड्रीम कम्स ट्रू हो गई है. बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है.
गौरव जी, जब कल मैच देख रहे थे आप लोग, संडे का दिन सब रिश्तेदार बैठ के साथ में देख रहे होंगे, वो एक एक क्षण कि बेटी का जब टर्न आएगा वो किस तरह से बॉल करेगी, कैसे विकेट लेगी, वो मोमेंट क्या था?
देखिए, वैसे तो जब से ये टूर्नामेंट स्टार्ट हुआ है सारी की सारी अपनी ही बेटियां हैं और बहुत खुशी हुई है, लेकिन एक बच्चे ने जो इतना ज़्यादा 100% अपना दिया है पूरे थ्रू आउट टूर्नामेंट में, इनकी जो बेस्ट एफर्ट थी वो कल ही नज़र आई। फील्डिंग आउटस्टैंडिंग थी और बच्चों ने, फील्डर्स ने इतनी अच्छी फील्डिंग करी है कि बॉलर्स को पूरा मौका दिया है अपने विकेट्स लेने का, तो बहुत प्राउड फील हो रहा है।
गौरव जी, सिर्फ 16 साल की है पार्श्वी और आपको लगता है कि अभी बहुत आगे मैचेस खेलने हैं, अभी आगे आईपीएल भी है और भी तमाम मैचेस है, आपको लगता है कि इसी तरह से अगर फॉर्म बना रहा तो कहाँ पहुँचेगी बेटी?
देखिए, लर्निंग की एज तो कभी ख़त्म होती नहीं है। हाँ, स्टेप बाय स्टेप चले तो बहुत ही अच्छा है और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि उसने बड़े कॉन्फिडेंस से, उसने ये नहीं देखा कि मैं वर्ल्ड कप का फाइनल खेल रही हूँ, कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल टचवुड उसका बहुत हाई था, तो उम्मीद करते हैं वो ऐसे ही स्टेप बाय स्टेप आगे बढ़ती रहेगी।
मैम, कल हम लोगों ने जो बॉलर्स हैं उनका, हम लोगों ने जो विकेट लेने का तरीका है, जो स्टाइल है वो देखा, चाहे सौम्या का स्टाइल हो, चाहे श्वेता का स्टाइल हो, और जब पार्श्वी के स्टाइल की बात करें, जब वो 4 ओवर में 13 रन बने थे, उस वक्त जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट था 2 विकेट लेना, वो पार्श्वी ने लिया। तब जब आप मैच देख रही थी, क्या लग रहा था? लग रहा था कि नहीं बेटी बस अब कैच ले ले, अब कैच ले ले, ऐसा लग रहा था?
यही था, सिर्फ एक भगवान से प्रार्थना कर रहे थे कि इंडिया ही जीते और वो पूरा कॉन्फिडेंट था। देखिए ना, गला बैठा पड़ा हमारा, इंडिया इंडिया इतना चिल्लाए हम लोग, हमारा बिल्कुल आवाज नहीं।
All right, we seem to be running into some trouble with that connection that we have. But that was the family of Parshvi Chopra, the highest wicket-taking player in the under-19 women's World Cup winning team. She was joined, the family of course was speaking to Republic TV and they were talking us through the moments of anxiety as well as the happiness that they have witnessed. Pictures on your screen are of the all-party meeting that has been called by the government ahead of the budget session. Stay with us as we get you more news.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 10 years, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
When we were reporting from that area, people were really scared. They saw these goons running all over the place and some of these goons have been apprehended, including that Trinamool Congress leader Guddu Khan, who is the person who is behind all this according to our local sources. There is no police in that area, and how that same person can have close photographs with one state minister and then no one has answered.
A day after the budget session, a day before the budget session, the centre calls for key meeting of all parties. A car rams into a pedestrian and flees hit and run is caught on camera. Ten students are suspended in Rajasthan allegedly after the BBC documentary screening. Condolences pour in, state honour to be given to Odisha's health minister. History is scripted as the Indian women cricket team wins the inaugural Under-19 World Cup. And Germany beats Belgium, lifts the Hockey World Cup trophy for the 3rd time. Another hit-and-run case has been caught on camera in Bengaluru. Reportedly, a man rammed his black Benz and into a pedestrian and fled from the spot. The victim, around 40 years old, died on the spot and has not yet been identified. 10 students of the Central University of Rajasthan in Ajmer district have been suspended for 2 weeks after they allegedly gathered on the campus to watch the controversial BBC documentary. The Odisha government has announced that a state honour will be accorded to Nabakishore Das, the Health and Family Welfare Minister who died hours after being shot by a policeman. Sources claim that there will be no official entertainment for the next 3 days. That's from the 29th to the 31st of January throughout the state. The decision of the Shiva Sena symbol is likely to be taken by the Election Commission today. Arguments between the Shinde and the Thackeray factions have been going on for 2 days earlier, as well as where the Election Commission had sought a written reply from both the groups. A Dalit man in Karnataka has been tied up and beaten allegedly for stealing coffee. Sources claim that the plantation owner, along with 4 others, got the victim named Manju, tied his hands and feet and thrashed him mercilessly. Indian women scripted history as India became the first ever ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup winners on Sunday. The BRS Parliamentary Party has expressed serious allegations against the central government. Sources claim that the BRS President and the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao has directed its party MPs to expose the centre's anti-people policies. The Grandmaster Anish Giri has won the Tata Steel Masters 2023, playing with a truly dominant form. Anish scored an unbeaten 88.5 over 13 to clinch the first place.
When we were reporting from that area, people were really scared. They saw these goons running all over the place, and some of these goons have been apprehended, including that Trinamool Congress leader, Guddu Khan, who is the person who is behind all this according to our local sources. There is no police in that area, and how that same person can have close photographs with one state minister and then no one has answered.
A day after the budget session, a day before the budget session, the centre calls for key meeting of all parties. A car rams into a pedestrian and flees hit and run is caught on camera. Ten students are suspended in Rajasthan allegedly after the BBC documentary screening. Condolences pour in, state honour to be given to Odisha's health minister. History is scripted as the Indian women cricket team wins the inaugural Under-19 World Cup. And Germany beats Belgium, lifts the Hockey World Cup trophy for the 3rd time. Another hit-and-run case has been caught on camera in Bengaluru. Reportedly, a man rammed his black Benz and into a pedestrian and fled from the spot. The victim, around 40 years old, died on the spot and has not yet been identified. 10 students of the Central University of Rajasthan in Ajmer district have been suspended for 2 weeks after they allegedly gathered on the campus to watch the controversial BBC documentary. The Odisha government has announced that a state honour will be accorded to Nabakishore Das, the Health and Family Welfare Minister who died hours after being shot by a policeman. Sources claim that there will be no official entertainment for the next 3 days. That's from the 29th to the 31st of January throughout the state. The decision of the Shiva Sena symbol is likely to be taken by the Election Commission today. Arguments between the Shinde and the Thackeray factions have been going on for 2 days earlier, as well as where the Election Commission had sought a written reply from both the groups. A Dalit man in Karnataka has been tied up and beaten allegedly for stealing coffee. Sources claim that the plantation owner, along with 4 others, got the victim named Manju, tied his hands and feet and thrashed him mercilessly. Indian women scripted history as India became the first ever ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup winners on Sunday. The BRS Parliamentary Party has expressed serious allegations against the central government. Sources claim that the BRS President and the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao has directed its party MPs to expose the centre's anti-people policies. The Grandmaster Anish Giri has won the Tata Steel Masters 2023, playing with a truly dominant form. Anish scored an unbeaten 88.5 over 13 to clinch the first place.
When we were reporting from that area, people were really scared. They saw these goons running all over the place, and some of these goons have been apprehended, including that Trinamool Congress leader, Guddu Khan, who is the person who is behind all this according to our local sources. There is no police in that area, and how that same person can have close photographs with one state minister and then no one has answered.
A day before the budget session, the centre calls for key meeting of all parties. A car rams into a pedestrian and flees hit and run is caught on camera.
Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. We are live and breaking. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Starting with our top focus, the budget, the all-party meet that's been called by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister has now begun. We'll get you all the latest on that, starting first with the top headlines. No end to controversy over blocked BBC documentary on Prime Minister Modi. PIL filed against centre in the top court. Shocking defence by Vadra Congress. Now Congress defends Rahul Gandhi's meet with Chinese envoy during Doklam face-off. Indian citizens targeted in Melbourne. Indians with Tiranga attacked by pro-Khalistan forces. Centre calls for a crucial all-party meet ahead of the budget session tomorrow. History scripted as Indian women cricket team win inaugural Under-19 World Cup. Russia makes fresh claims on Ukraine, says it attacked hospital, claiming lives of at least 14 people. All right, we start with the latest. We are picking on the all-party meet, which has begun. The first visuals on your screens right now of several of those opposition leaders who are there, from Farooq Abdullah and Umar Abdullah to several of those opposition leaders who have arrived for the all-party meet, which is taking place in the Parliament as we speak, being chaired by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi. But what is appalling is the fact that the Congress has not is not present at this all-party meet, which is currently underway. We have our executive editor for politics, Aishwarya Kapoor, joining us. Aishwarya, if you can help us read into this Congress skipping the all-party meet, is it even surprising at all that the Congress decided to give the all-party meet a miss?
Interesting is that the other opposition parties are not standing by with the Congress, and then they've come in for this all-party meeting. This is going to be a very important parliament session. This is the budget session. The finance minister is going to table the budget, and then after that there is going to be discussion, and that is exactly what the government wants. Government wants discussion and not disruption, but it seems as if the Congress party has already made up its mind by giving an indication and by skipping, as you indicated, this all-party meeting called in by the speaker. There is going to be another all-party meeting, beg your pardon, by the minister. There is also another all-party meeting called in by the speaker. And the Congress party is also expected to skip that. And that is an indication for the government that the Congress is going to be at it. But a very interesting part is that the opposition stays completely divided, and the divide is out in the open. The other opposition parties have defied or denied to accept Congress's idea of disruption and not discussion. They believe, and they said that they will discuss, they will raise their points even if they agree or they disagree. They have had several opposition party leaders coming out in the parliament and said that in democracy you need to agree to disagree, but then disruption, and continuous disruption cannot be the way in the parliament. And hence, this all-party meeting is also an eye-opener for the people of this country that how divided the opposition stands today and how alienated Congress stands today.
Stay with us, Ishwara, and also if you can help us understand for our viewers also how important is tomorrow's budget session going to be, because let's not forget the economic survey report is going to be presented. The President, of course, would be addressing both the houses of the Parliament at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Well, that's right. And it's a precursor to the budget, and it gives an indication that what Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Prime Minister Modi's government is basically entailing for the country for the next fiscal year. But it is all going to be termed political as far as the opposition is concerned, and as far as the president's statement is concerned. Yes, that is customary, and that will happen. That will be a joint house that will be happening for both the MPs of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And as far as the importance of the budget session goes, Samiksha, the importance is going to be immense, because if we see the international factors impacting the Indian economy right now, keeping all of those factors in mind, and then keeping the importance and keeping what is going to be primarily important for the Indian citizen, that is going to be the priority of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Yes, there are going to be several hue and cries. Yes, there are going to be several allegations, but all of that is part of democracy. And hence I say discussion and not disruption should be the norm. And with the Congress party skipping the all-party meeting, they are giving an indication that they are still not ready to have discussion. And disruption is the only thing they are looking for, even in this such an important budget session of the Parliament.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ishwara, for those details. So yes, all eyes would of course be on the budget that would be presented day after tomorrow. Of course, the last full budget of Modi government 2.0, and the visuals there coming in right now, the inside visuals of the all-party meet, which is being chaired as we speak by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister.
Andrew Bagshaw, a British volunteer, was killed with his colleague Christopher Parry while they were evacuating people in eastern Ukraine.
And they always try to be so brave. When even no one want to go to Solidar, they can do that. Because if he understood that someone needs help, they need to do this help for these people. We cannot find them for weeks, but in the one moment, Wagner's posted in the channels, one of the Instagram, their passports after a few days, like 11 January, and we understood that guy is in a catch.
A memorial service was held at Kiev St. Sophia's Cathedral on Sunday for 48-year-old Bagshaw.
6th of January, he went together with Chris Parry, a British volunteer, to evacuate a person, an elderly lady, from Solidar, and they haven't been heard from since. The bodies have been recovered from Solidar. They've confirmed they're dead.
Agency report, Republic TV.
All right, two more news break coming in. This one in relation to what the Union Law Minister Kiren Rijiju has now said, hitting out at the lobby, at the ecosystem for questioning the banning of the documentary series based on Prime Minister Modi. In fact, the tweet that has been put out by Kiren Rijiju, where he says, and I quote, "This is how they waste the precious time of Honourable Supreme Court, where thousands of common citizens are already waiting and seeking dates for justice." Well, that's the first, in fact, statement that has been put out by Kiren Rijiju, the Union Law Minister, saying that it's wastage of time, nothing else, when it comes to filing of those petitions, multiple petitions in the top court by people who are opposing the banning of the documentary series based on Prime Minister Modi on the 2002 riots. So that's a tweet that has been put out by Law Minister Kiren Rijiju. This, of course, comes after not one but two PILs have been filed in the top court questioning the banning of the documentary based on Prime Minister Modi. We have Sambhav joining us, who tracks the Supreme Court very closely. Sambhav, if you can once again take us through the details of these petitions that have been filed in the top court. Not one but two petitions, we understand, questioning the banning of the documentary series on Prime Minister Modi.
So, in the mentioning at the Supreme Court today, one of the Justice of India, To which CGI said that we'll list the matter on next Monday, that is February 6th. Post that, it came to light few others like N. Ram and others like Mahua Moitra and Prashant Bhushan have come up regarding that deletion of the tweet. And so this petition would also be heard with the first...
Yes, Sambhav, just stay with us. Just hold your thoughts for a moment. Let's go across to our executive editor for legal affairs, Rhythm, also joining us. Rhythm, if you can take us once again through the details of this, the two PILs that have been filed in the top court and, of course, the law minister hitting out at this ecosystem which have been propagating the banning of the documentary in the country.
I think the law minister's attack this time of journalists and these activists is absolutely accurate. The law minister calling a spade, a BBC documentary which shows India in a wrong light, and they are now coming in PIs to the Supreme Court is a complete waste of the time of the Supreme Court that has to be looking at cases that need justice. So this kind of a political gimmick that is now being done by certain leaders of the TMC, by activists who've always gone against the government, acting with the opposition in cases like Rafale. We often see these names coming up again and again as petitioners, whether in the Rafale case, whether in the Loya case, whether it's trying to get certain judges impeached at certain times. It is always the same lobby that is at the helm of trying to create a global uncertainty when it comes to our judiciary and the way India is perceived. Once again, the same members are a part of this petition that is now being filed in the Supreme Court. Even in the farmers' case, we saw the same such people coming forward and putting out petition after petition in the Supreme Court. When we see this case, it's with absolute certainty that there is a political agenda behind it, and I think the law minister is only calling a spade because the fact of the matter is the judiciary cannot be used for political motives and for trying to send out a message in the international circuit. They also need to understand, even as they're attacking the judiciary, even as they're attacking the government, such kind of messages that are sent forward in an international forum is not correct. Whether a person is in the opposition, whether there is a lobby matter, or whether it's India, when it comes to the international community watching India, everybody needs to stand united, something the law minister only keeps reminding them.
All right, thank you for sharing us sharing us your perspective with us. So Rhythm, they're getting us the details of the PIL, and also to tell our viewers, the BBC documentary is blocked from streaming on social media under Section 69A of the Information Technology Act in conjunction with relevant IT rules. So that's the latest coming in. Two PILs that have been filed in the top court. And Kiran Rijiju there hitting out at the lobby, questioning the ecosystem for questioning the banning of the documentary in the country. All right, we'll slip into a very short break for now, but do not go anywhere. A lot of news breaks and top stories coming up on the other side of this very short break. History scripted as Indian women cricket team win inaugural Under-19 World Cup. And Russia makes fresh claims on Ukraine, says it attacked hospitals, claiming lives of at least 14.
Another hit-and-run case has been caught on camera in Bengaluru. Reportedly, a man rammed his black Benz and into a pedestrian and fled from the spot. The victim, around 40 years old, died on the spot and has not yet been identified. 10 students of the Central University of Rajasthan in Ajmer district have been suspended for 2 weeks after they allegedly gathered on the campus to watch the controversial BBC documentary. The Odisha government has announced that a state honour will be accorded to Nabakishore Das, the Health and Family Welfare Minister who died hours after being shot by a policeman. Sources claim that there will be no official entertainment for the next 3 days. That's from the 29th to the 31st of January throughout the state. The decision of the Shiva Sena symbol is likely to be taken by the Election Commission today. Arguments between the Shinde and the Thackeray factions have been going on for 2 days earlier, as well as where the Election Commission had sought a written reply from both the groups. Dalit man in Karnataka has been tied up and beaten allegedly for stealing coffee. Sources claim that the plantation owner, along with 4 others, got the victim named Manju, tied his hands and feet and thrashed him mercilessly. Indian women scripted history as India became the first ever ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup winners on Sunday. The BRS Parliamentary Party has expressed serious allegations against the central government. Sources claim that the BRS President and the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao has directed its party MPs to expose the centre's anti-people policies. The Grandmaster Anish Giri has won the Tata Steel Masters 2023, playing with a truly dominant form. Anish scored an unbeaten 88.5 over 13 to clinch the first place.
When we were reporting from that area, people were really scared. They saw these goons running all over the place, and some of these goons have been apprehended, including that Trinamool Congress leader, Guddu Khan, who is the person who is behind all this according to our local sources. There is no police in that area, and how that same person can have close photographs with one state minister and then no one has answered.
A day after the budget session, a day before the budget session, the centre calls for key meeting of all parties. A car rams into a pedestrian and flees hit and run is caught on camera. Ten students are suspended in Rajasthan allegedly after the BBC documentary screening. Condolences pour in state honour to be given to Odisha's health minister. History is scripted as the Indian women cricket team wins the inaugural Under-19 World Cup. And Germany beats Belgium, lifts the
Alright, a quick roundup of all the action from the world of sports. Grandmaster Anish Giri has now won the Tata Steel Masters 2023, playing with a truly dominant form. Anish scored an unbeaten 8.5 to clinch the first place. Adani Sportsline Gujarat Giants has appointed former India captain Mithali Raj as an advisor and mentor for the upcoming inaugural season of the Women's Premier League. Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar was seen congratulating the family members of Shefali Verma after Team India won the Under-19 T20 Cricket World Cup. Indian head coach Rahul Dravid along with national men's team congratulated the Indian women's team on their historic title and noted that the win was a landmark moment for women's cricket.
Today was a landmark day for the Indian women's Under-19 team and they had a fantastic day. I'd like to pass it on to
Juniors kicked off their 2023 domestic season with a win against Atletico. Oscar scored the winning goal in the 69th minute and helped to seal the 3 points for the hosts. A very short break. No end to controversy over blocked documentary series on Prime Minister. PIL filed against centre in the top court. Shocking defence by Vadra Congress. Now Congress defends Rahul Gandhi's meet with Chinese envoy during Doklam face-off.
A day after the budget session, a day before the budget session, the centre calls for key meeting of all parties. A car rams into a pedestrian and flees hit and run is caught on camera. Ten students are suspended in Rajasthan allegedly after the BBC documentary screening. Condolences pour in, state honour to be given to Odisha's Health Minister. History is scripted as the Indian women cricket team wins the inaugural Under-19 World Cup. And Germany beats Belgium, lifts the Hockey World Cup trophy for the third time. Another hit-and-run case has been caught on camera in Bengaluru. Reportedly, a man rammed his black Benz and into a pedestrian and fled from the spot. The victim, around 40 years old, died on the spot and has not yet been identified. 10 students of the Central University of Rajasthan in Ajmer district have been suspended for 2 weeks after they allegedly gathered on the campus to watch the controversial BBC documentary. The Odisha government has announced that a state honour will be accorded to Nabakishore Das, the Health and Family Welfare Minister who died hours after being shot by a policeman. Sources claim that there will be no official entertainment for the next 3 days. That's from the 29th to the 31st of January throughout the state. The decision of the Shiva Sena symbol is likely to be taken by the Election Commission today. Arguments between the Shinde and the Thackeray factions have been going on for 2 days earlier, as well as where the Election Commission had sought a written reply from both the groups. A Dalit man in Karnataka has been tied up and beaten allegedly for stealing coffee. Sources claim that the plantation owner, along with 4 others, got the victim named Manju, tied his hands and feet and thrashed him mercilessly. Indian women scripted history as India became the first ever ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup winners on Sunday. The BRS Parliamentary Party has expressed serious allegations against the central government. Sources claim that the BRS President and the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao has directed its party MPs to expose the centre's anti-people policies. The Grandmaster Anish Giri has won the Tata Steel Masters 2023, playing with a truly dominant form. Anish scored an...
Today was a landmark day for the Indian women's under-19 team and they had a fantastic day. I'd like to pass it on to winning under-19 men's boys captain to pass on a message to the young girls.
I think it's a great achievement. Everyone wants to congratulate under-19 women's team. So congratulations. Congratulations. Well done. Congrats.
Accident has taken place outside a posh hotel near Mekli Circle on Ballari Road in Bengaluru. CCTV footage that we have accessed clearly goes on and points out to the fact that this person has been mowed down by a black color Benz car. But so far the police have not been able to get any inputs on this, and now the victim also has to be identified here. The impact of the crash was such that the victim died on the spot.
When we were reporting from that area, people were really scared. They saw these goons running all over the place, and some of these goons have been apprehended, including that Trinamool Congress leader, Guddu Khan, who is the person who is behind all this according to our local sources. There is no police in that area, and how that same person can have close photographs with one state minister and then no one has answered.
A day after the budget session, a day before the budget session, the centre calls for key meeting of all parties. A car rams into a pedestrian and flees. Hit and run is caught on camera. Ten students are suspended in Rajasthan allegedly after the BBC documentary screening. Condolences pour in, state honour to be given to Odisha's Health Minister. History History is scripted as the Indian women cricket team wins the inaugural Under-19 World Cup. And Germany beats Belgium, lifts the Hockey World Cup trophy for the third time. Another hit-and-run case has been caught on camera in Bengaluru. Reportedly, a man rammed his black Benz and into a pedestrian and fled from the spot. The victim, around 40 years old, died on the spot and has not yet been identified. 10 students of the Central University of Rajasthan in Ajmer district have been suspended for 2 weeks after they allegedly gathered on the campus to watch the controversial BBC documentary. The Odisha government has announced that a state honour will be accorded to Nabakishore Das, the Health and Family Welfare Minister who died hours after being shot by a policeman. Sources claim that there will be no official entertainment for the next 3 days. That's from the 29th to the 31st of January throughout the state. The decision of the Shiva Sena symbol is likely to be taken by the Election Commission today. Arguments between the Shinde and the Thackeray factions have been going on for 2 days earlier, as well as where the Election Commission had sought a written reply from both the groups. A Dalit man in Karnataka has been tied up and beaten allegedly for stealing coffee. Sources claim that the plantation owner, along with 4 others, got the victim named Manju, tied his hands and feet and thrashed him mercilessly. Indian women scripted history as India became the first ever ICC Under-19.
Finally, NIA has attached the property of the All-Party Hurriyat Conference, Rajbagh area of Srinagar, and they are clearly saying that they are just implementing the orders that are coming from the court. Naeem Khan, Hurriyat leader, who owns a partial property of this very building. He is languishing in jail since 2017 and he was involved in a number of terrorist and secessionist activities in Jammu and Kashmir.
Thanks for tuning in this Monday afternoon. We are live and breaking. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Let's take a look at the top headlines this Monday afternoon. No end to controversy over blog BBC documentary on Prime Minister Modi. PIL filed against centre in the top court. Shocking defence by Vadra Congress. Now Congress defends Rahul Gandhi's meet with Chinese envoy during Doklam face-off. Indian citizens targeted in Melbourne. Indians with Tiranga attacked by pro-Khalistan forces. Centre calls for a crucial all-party meet ahead of the budget session tomorrow. History scripted as Indian women cricket team wins inaugural Under-19 World Cup. Russia makes fresh claims on Ukraine, says it attacked hospital, claiming lives of at least 14. All right, we start with a top story. This one coming in from Melbourne, where India has now raised the attack on tricolour with Australia. In fact, the Indian Commission in Australia, Manpreet Vora, has tweeted, and I quote, "It was a privilege to call on Premier of Victoria today, discussed our strong and growing bilateral relationship, the violence in Melbourne yesterday and how to stop extremist Khalistani groups engaging in further activities prejudicial to peace and harmony in the country. So India, of course, raising concerns there with the officials in Australia, saying that the Australian officials need to step in and stop the extremist attacks which have been happening. Remember this attack which happened just yesterday, which is January 29th, after several such incidents that have come to light where Hindu temples have been attacked by the Khalistani elements in Melbourne. We have Suyesha also joining us from the Delhi newsroom. Suyesha, good afternoon. For our viewers who are also just tuning in, if you can put this into context for us, the attacks that have been happening in recent past on Hindu temples in Melbourne, and just days after this, another attack seems to have happened just yesterday on the Indians in Melbourne.
Absolutely, Samiksha. I'm here in the Noida studio, and we are tracking all these developments very, very closely, because it is now a cause of concern over growing Hinduphobia, especially these attacks that have been happening where temples have been vandalized in Australia. And now these concerns have now been raised. In fact, my colleague Vishal Monga may also be joining us from Melbourne very, very shortly to give us details, as the Indian Commissioner visited the temple. And most importantly, India has now asked Australia to act. It has been a matter of concern, as 3 attacks were seen in 11 days flat. And we saw how slogans were put out, how these graffiti were put out. Vishal, if you can hear me, I already see you on our screens right now. You're joining us from Melbourne. Give us a sense of how the Australian government is reacting to this, as India has now been firm that some action must be taken, and how are they going to crack down on these extremists?
See, one of the more important factors is that the Indian High Commission today met the Victoria Premier Dan Andrews, and he's taken up this issue at the highest level. Now, the Labour government here in power, the allegations were that was going soft on these elements, and that is why no action was being taken. But now the Indian High Commission has met the Labour government premier and informed him about the concern of the Hindu community back here in Melbourne. Melbourne is a very peaceful area. Now, if you see, several incidents have been taken place where graffitis were made on the Hindu temples, and the police has not come to any conclusions still yet. It is still investigating. And now this referendum yesterday, where the Indian students who were carrying tricolour were attacked by these Khalistani groups. They attacked them, which was caught on camera, and still right now, no strict action has been taken. That is what our knowledge is. But if you talk about the Victorian police is investigating the matter. But the most important fact is that these Khalistani groups have been really growing strong. And this is because the Australian government, the Victorian government, has not been taking strong steps. That is the allegation of the Hindu groups. Now, today, the Indian High Commissioner met Dan Andrews, who is the Premier of Victoria, informed him about this growing concern within the Hindu community, also informed him about what happened yesterday, and had asked him that since Australia is considered to be a friendly country of India, it should take strict action, and action should be seen to be taken. That is what a strong message should be sent to these Khalistani groups. Now, this is not one-off incident that has happened. Several videos have really come in where these Khalistani groups, pro-Khalistani elements, have really beaten up students. And if you see the videos yesterday, it was just peaceful gathering. I was speaking to one of the victims. His ribs were broken, his hands were broken. But till now, there's never not been a strong action which has really pacified people here. But what I can tell you is that the Indian government is serious about this, and has taken a strict action and has informed the authorities in Victoria to take a strict action against these pro-Khalistani groups.
Absolutely, and the very fact, Vishal, that these elements are bent upon creating unrest to send out a message and going on to attack Indians, which has really hit a limit. But Vishal, tell us more of the presence of these Khalistani elements in Australia, of the network they may have, how strongly are they spread, and to really carry out such acts, is there no fear of the law? What is the strictest action that can be taken against them on Australian soil in Melbourne? What more can you share on that front?
See, if you talk about these strength of these Khalistani groups, this has been a growing phenomena. After Gurpant Singh Pannu had really asked for referendum, this referendum being held at Melbourne is a recent phenomena where if you go to the Gurudwaras, you can see the presence of these pro-Khalistani groups. They've been provided all kind of material which has been distributed across the state. They had put up the banners. A lot of effort has gone into it. Lot of money has gone into it, and right now because the Australian government basically think that it's a issue of freedom of speech, so they're not intervening into this issue. But if you see yesterday what has happened is the students were beaten up. You remember the case of Vishal Jood. In that case also he was doing a Tiranga Yatra. These Khalistani groups, pro-Khalistani elements had attacked him, and then they had informed the police that it was a hatred against the Sikh community. The police had really booked Vishal Jood in that case, and he had to finally get deported from Australia. But here you see, if you see the pictures clearly show that these pro-Khalistani groups members were beating up. It's a clear-cut case of battery and assault. The Victorian police is yet to take strong action against these elements. And if you see these sticks being carried by these pro-Khalistani elements, they're beating up these people because they were moving on the road where the referendum was being held. Now, if you see the whole picture, there was a group of around 20-25 students, people who were really bashed up by these pro-Khalistani elements. As of now, the presence of, although there was a huge presence of Victoria police, but the police did not really take strict action. That is what the perception is. Although Victorian police is a very professional force, they are saying that they are investigating the matter and strict action would be taken. But indeed, the Indian community, the Hindu community is feeling threatened. They are saying that the Victorian government should take a strong action, strong view against these pro-Khalistani groups. Now, these pro-Khalistani groups have been really active in the Gurudwaras of Victoria. That is how they're getting all the financial support. And also, there was a lot of energy, money, time spent on this promotion of this referendum, which was held yesterday at the heart of the city, that is the
Right.
Federation Square. But what's more important is now the Indian government has really
Right.
pressurized the Australian government to really take a strict action.
Right. Vishal, please stay on with us. Amrendra K. Singh, who is the president of the